"Sir, your cattle are trespassing on HOA property." That's the first thing out of Karen Middlesworth's mouth, the president of Pine Valley Estates, and, honestly, probably the only person in the county who'd wear a navy blazer and pearls just to stand out in a field on a 90-degree day. There she was, standing on my side of the fence like she owned it, pointing toward a herd of black Angus that's been grazing that pasture since before I was born. Since before she was born, probably. That look on her face, well, you know the one. The kind people get when nobody's ever had the nerve to tell them no. I just shook my head, still working on that busted fence post, not even bothering to look up. "You mean my cattle on my land?" That's what I asked. She bristled, clinging to her clipboard like it was a shield. "This entire eastern section is now Pine Valley Estates expansion zone," she said. "Officially annexed. Board vote unanimous. Resolution 12G. The wire cutters in my hand felt a whole lot more real than whatever legal nonsense she was throwing my way. But that's not even the wildest part, not by a long shot. I finally stood up, gave her my full attention. "That so? Did you hold that vote before or after I legally transferred your precious lakefront lots to a telecom company?" Watching the color drain out of her face, I mean, faster than floodwater through a broken dam. But let me back up a sec. My name's Marcus Danvers. I'm not the troublemaking type. I inherited this ranch from my granddad 42 years ago. All 2,500 acres of rolling pasture. Creeks. The kind of land that makes you feel small when the sun comes up over the hills. And right next to it, a 15-year-old HOA development. Pine Valley Estates just kind of appeared one day, like fungus after a storm. Their world and mine couldn't be more different. I get up to cattle and songbirds. They wake up to leaf blowers and chemical trucks spraying those plastic lakes. They've got lawns so perfect you'd think a robot mows them. Cookie-cutter houses, fake Victorian street lamps. Everything painted the same shade of HOA-approved beige. And Karen? She runs the place like she's still collecting taxes for the county, which she used to do, by the way. She once fined a homeowner because their birdhouse was forest green, not hunter green. You think I'm joking? I wish I was. Trouble started because the eastern edge of my ranch bumps up against a spillway behind the lakefront homes. Most folks would double-check a survey, maybe knock on my door. Not Karen. She saw opportunity. She started talking about adverse possession protocols. Karen speak for, "Let's steal it." The first sign came on a Tuesday. I went out to check the herd, found landscapers running a hiking trail straight through my cattle pasture. Solar lights every 20 feet. Some brass-plated bench, dedicated to the visionary leadership of her board. You ever have a morning ruined by a plaque? That was mine. I parked, walked up, tried to stay civil. "Morning. Who told you to do this?" Crew chief, sunburned, clearly not paid enough for HOA politics, handed me a letterhead work order. "Community land now. Gotta finish by Friday, ribbon cutting." I said, "Pack up, you're trespassing." He shrugged. "Take it up with the lady who hired us." Real intense. Lotta paperwork. So that night I went to Karen's door. She answered in a full business suit, 7 at night, hair so tight it looked like it hurt. "Marcus," she said, like she was talking to a slow kindergartner. "Seen our community project?" I said, "Seen the illegal construction, if that's what you mean." She tried to bulldoze me with legal jargon. Voted. Incorporated. Perfectly legal. I couldn't help laughing. "Karen, you can't just vote to take land." She hit back with a stack of paperwork, resolutions, signatures, stamps. All HOA nonsense, totally worthless. I told her so. She didn't blink. "We'll see about that." Next morning, I took my tractor, hauled every light, bench and sign out, and left them in a neat pile by her driveway. She stormed out, face going red. "Vandalism. I'm calling the police." I told her, "Great. Let's meet at the county records office. Settle it for good." Instead, she called her lawyer. 3 days later, certified letter. HOA suing me for community property destruction, trespassing, $3,000 in damages. I called my attorney, Jim. He's been fighting property disputes here longer than I've been alive. He took one look and burst out laughing. "She thinks a board vote means she owns your land? That's creative." Not even close to legal, but creative. He was right. Case tossed in 2 weeks. Judge said HOA resolutions don't trump property records. But Karen was just warming up. She appealed. Dismissed. Then she filed a zoning complaint. Said I was running an illegal cattle operation. County shut her down. Next came an EPA report. She accused me of uncontrolled bovine waste. You can't make this up. Then she started serving me with HOA citations if I lived there. Unlicensed bovine gatherings. Grass height. Noise from excessive pastoral activities. My favorite? She hired a process server to deliver cease and desist orders to my bull, Thunder. A grown man walked out, tried to hand paperwork to a 1,200-pound animal. I took pictures. It only got wilder. Karen dug up old tax records, called the county, claimed I was hiding buildings, grass tax evasion. They sent an assessor, found everything was legal, taxes paid. Karen demanded a hearing before the county commission. She wanted to expose systematic agricultural fraud. Out of curiosity and Jim's amusement, I showed up. Karen brought binders, PowerPoints, 2 board members as expert witnesses. She strutted up to the podium like she was running for governor, argued for 20 straight minutes, charts, photos, accusations. When she finished, one commissioner finally asked, "Did you even read the property records?" She tried to bluff. Another commissioner cut in. "So you're saying the county's been wrong for decades?" Karen stammered, deflected. Then it was my turn. I just told the truth. 3 generations on this ranch, every acre accounted for. Showed them the lawsuit, the HOA violations, photos of the guy serving Thunder. Laid out how this was just harassment, plain and simple. The commissioners shut it down. Your complaints are based on disagreement with ownership, not actual violations. Karen's face beat red. Meeting over. But Karen still wasn't done. 2 weeks later, I get a call from a developer, David Chun. "Mr. Danvers, we've got a problem with the land title for a property we bought from the HOA 40 acres next to Pine Valley Estates." Wait, what? He emailed me the paperwork. Karen had forged an entire land sale, fake surveys, phony property descriptions, forged documents, sold my land to Chen's company for $1.2 million. She'd even faked tax records to make it look legit. But in the process, she'd copied my property's actual survey data, proving it wasn't even HOA land. Jim's reaction? That's not just civil fraud. That's criminal. We called the district attorney. But first, I did my homework. Turns out, when Pine Valley was built, the original developer kept water rights under those fancy lakes. My granddad bought that land, including those rights, in the 1970s. Meaning, I owned the ground under 12 of Pine Valley's priciest homes. The HOA never bought it. Nobody noticed for decades. Karen tried to steal my pasture, but she'd been living on my land the whole time. Jim nearly fell out of his chair. You could demand back rent, force the homeowners to buy the rights, or, and here's where the revenge twist comes in, you could lease the rights to someone who will use the land. I called a few telecom companies. Within days, I had a lease for cellular towers, $50,000 upfront, $10,000 a month. And legally, I had to give the residents 60 days notice. I reported Karen's fraud, filed my own lawsuit, and sent certified letters to every homeowner. Your house sits on my land. In 60 days, expect construction. The neighborhood erupted. Karen called me screaming, "You can't do this. Karen, it's my property. Just business." She accused me of extortion. I told her, "No, that's when you demand money to not do something legal." Residents panicked. Property values nosedived overnight. 3 houses went up for sale. Reporters showed up. HOA president's land grab backfires. Front page news. Then came criminal charges for Karen. Real estate fraud, forgery, conspiracy. HOA board kicked her out, homeowners sued, developer sued for millions. But here's the real cinematic justice. Telecom towers started going up. 2 right in Karen's lakefront view, red lights blinking all night, generators humming, cameras everywhere. She filed for an injunction, argued in court that the easement was invalid. Judge cut her off. Did you try to sell land you didn't own? Karen admitted it. Judge, motion denied. Construction rolled on. You could feel the whole dynamic shift. Neighbors, once polite but distant, came to apologize. Said they'd had enough of Karen's community improvement crusades. Property values kept dropping. Karen tried to sell her Placino takers. The telecom lease paid all my legal fees, funded a new irrigation system, and I even built a schoolhouse for local kids to learn ranching. Put up a neon sign on the hill. Danvers Ranch where property rights matter. Couldn't miss it from Pine Valley. Karen appealed her conviction, lost again. State revoked her tax license for good. Her career, reputation, everything, gone. Sentencing day, courtroom packed. The judge laid out her crimes, gave her 3 years in state prison and 50 grand in fines. She went pale as paper, kept muttering 3 years under her breath. Like she couldn't believe it. She got led away in cuffs, still looking like the victim. But if you ask me, the real story here isn't about one HOA president gone rogue. It's about how far some folks will gotwist the law, bully their neighbors, weaponize bureaucracy just because they think they know best. And how, every once in a while, justice actually catches up. So, I gotta ask, what do you think? Should communities have the right to claim private land just to chase their version of progress? Or does property mean something deeper than a vote and a boardroom power trip? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's hear where you stand on HOA power, justice, and the fight for what's right.